She had 30 days to get married or lose a billion-dollar empire. But the man she chose as her husband wasn't a stranger looking for money. He was the man who had spent years waiting for the perfect moment to expose her family's darkest secret. And when she discovered the truth, their arranged marriage was already impossible to escape. Before we begin, tell us where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe for more emotional stories like this. The rain poured heavily over the city of New York as thousands gathered outside the headquarters of Hayes International. For decades, the Hayes name represented power, wealth, and success. A family empire built from nothing. But inside the towering glass building on the 50th floor, the future of that empire was about to change forever. Amelia Hayes stood alone in her father's office, staring at the empty chair behind the massive wooden desk. The chair where Richard Hayes had made billion-dollar decisions. The chair where he had built one of America's largest business empires. Only 3 days earlier, Amelia had buried the only person she truly trusted. Her father, Richard Hayes, had been a legend in the business world. To everyone else, he was a billionaire genius. But to Amelia, he was simply her father. The man who taught her how to dream. The man who promised her she would never have to depend on anyone. But now he was gone, and everything he left behind came with a condition that would change her life forever. A lawyer entered the office carrying a black folder. "Miss Hayes," he said quietly, "there is something you need to hear." Amelia turned around. "Is this about the company?" The lawyer placed the folder on the desk. "It's about your inheritance." Amelia opened the document. At first, she didn't understand what she was reading. Then her expression changed. Her father's entire fortune, the company, the properties, the shares, everything she was supposed to inherit had one condition. Within 30 days, she had to be legally married. Amelia stared at the paper in disbelief. "This has to be a mistake." The lawyer shook his head. "Your father personally added this condition 6 months before his death. Why would he do this?" The lawyer looked uncomfortable. "Your father believed the person who inherited Hayes International needed someone beside them who could be trusted." Amelia laughed bitterly. "Trusted?" She looked around the office. "My father built a billion-dollar company. He negotiated with presidents and CEOs. And now he thinks I need a husband to prove I'm capable." The lawyer remained silent. Because there was one more detail. A detail that made everything worse. "If you do not marry within 30 days. He paused. "Control of Hayes International will transfer to the Hayes Family Foundation." Amelia froze. The foundation was controlled by her aunt, Victoria Hayes, the one person Amelia never trusted. Victoria had spent years waiting for her chance to take over the company, and now Richard's final decision had given her that opportunity. The next morning, Amelia arrived at Hayes International ready to fight. But before she could enter her office, she heard voices coming from the conference room. Her Aunt Victoria sat at the head of the table, surrounded by board members. "I understand Amelia is upset," Victoria said. "But emotions cannot run a billion-dollar company." Amelia opened the door. "Interesting. I didn't realize my company was already being discussed without me." Everyone became silent. Victoria smiled. "Amelia, we were simply preparing for the future. The future where you take my father's company." Victoria stood. "Don't make this personal." "It became personal when you started planning my failure before my father's funeral was even over." The room became tense. Victoria walked closer. "Your father knew you were brilliant. But brilliance isn't enough." She looked at Amelia's engagement ring finger. "Even he knew you needed stability." Amelia removed her hand. "I don't need a husband to prove myself." Victoria smiled. "Then you better find one quickly." She glanced at the calendar. "Because you only have 29 days left." That night, Amelia sat alone in her apartment. The city lights reflected against the window. For the first time in her life, she felt powerless. She had spent years proving she was more than just a billionaire's daughter. She graduated top of her class. She expanded parts of the company. She earned respect from executives twice her age. But now everyone saw her as a woman waiting for a husband to save her. Then her phone rang. It was her best friend, Olivia. "You can't seriously be considering this." Amelia sighed. "What choice do I have? You could expose the will. Challenge it legally. My father's lawyer's already prepared for that. Then marry someone you trust." Amelia laughed. "Everyone around me wants something." "Not everyone." Olivia paused. "There is someone I know." Amelia looked confused. "Who?" "A man named Noah Carter." Amelia shook her head. "No, you haven't even met him." "I don't need to. I'm not picking a husband from a stranger list." Olivia lowered her voice. "You might want to hear his story first." Across the city, in a small office above a construction site, Noah Carter stared at an old newspaper article. The headline read, "Hayes' partner destroyed after business deal collapse." Below the headline was a picture of a younger man, Noah's father, a man who had lost everything years ago. Noah remembered that day clearly. His family went from wealth to nothing overnight. And the person responsible? Richard Hayes. Or at least, that was what Noah believed. For years, Noah rebuilt his life. He created his own construction company. He became successful without anyone knowing his true identity. Because he wasn't just Noah Carter. He was Noah Whitmore, the forgotten heir of the family Richard Hayes destroyed. Then he received a message that changed everything. Richard Hayes is dead. His daughter needs a husband. Noah stared at the message. A slow smile appeared. After all these years, fate had brought Amelia Hayes directly to him. The next day, Amelia met Noah at a quiet restaurant. She expected someone desperate, someone who wanted money. Instead, she saw a man wearing a simple black suit, sitting calmly by the window. No expensive watch, no flashy attitude, just confidence. Noah stood when she approached. "Amelia Hayes." She studied him. "You know who I am. Everyone knows who you are. And you still agreed to this?" Noah looked at her. "Yes." "Why?" He paused. "Because sometimes people need each other more than they realize." Amelia narrowed her eyes. "That sounds like something someone says when they want something." Noah smiled slightly. "You don't trust easily." "No." "Good." She looked surprised. "Good. People who trust everyone usually make dangerous mistakes." For the first time in weeks, Amelia felt like someone understood her. But she didn't know the truth. She didn't know the man sitting across from her had a secret that could destroy everything. The next morning, Amelia Hayes sat across from Noah Carter in a private meeting room overlooking Manhattan. For years, Amelia had negotiated million-dollar deals with powerful executives. She had faced angry investors, aggressive competitors, and people who underestimated her. But this was different. This wasn't business. This was her future, a marriage, a decision that could change everything. Noah placed a document on the table. The agreement. Amelia looked at the papers. "You already prepared a marriage contract?" Noah nodded. "I thought you would appreciate clarity." She opened it. The terms were simple. A 1-year marriage. Separate bedrooms. No interference in each other's personal lives. No public scandals. And after 1 year, they would separate if they both agreed. Amelia looked impressed despite herself. "You planned this carefully." Noah leaned back. "I believe expectations prevent unnecessary problems." She continued reading. Then she stopped. "There's one rule missing." Noah looked at her. "Which one?" "No falling in love." For a moment, the room was silent. Then Noah smiled. "That won't be a problem." Amelia closed the folder. Good. Neither of them knew those words would become the biggest lie they had ever told. 3 days later, the entire world learned about Amelia Hayes' upcoming marriage. News channels covered the story. Hayes, international heiress, announces surprise engagement. Social media exploded. Everyone wanted to know one thing. Who was Noah Carter? The answer disappointed them. He wasn't a billionaire. He wasn't a famous businessman. He wasn't part of high society. To the world, he was just an ordinary man. And that was exactly what made people suspicious. Inside Hayes International, Victoria Hayes watched the news with anger. She threw the remote onto the table. This cannot be happening. Her assistant stood quietly. Amelia is moving forward with the marriage. Victoria's eyes narrowed. Who is this Noah Carter? We've investigated him. And the assistant hesitated. He's successful, but there's very little information about his past. Victoria stood. No one appears out of nowhere. She walked toward the window. Find out who he really is. The wedding was small. Amelia refused the extravagant ceremony everyone expected. She didn't want a celebration. She wanted a solution. At the private estate outside New York, Amelia walked down the aisle wearing a simple white dress. Noah waited for her. Calm, confident, impossible to read. As they exchanged vows, cameras flashed outside the gates. The world watched the billionaire heiress marry a mystery man. But nobody knew this marriage was built on secrets. Amelia was hiding her fear. Noah was hiding his past. And both were pretending they felt nothing. After the ceremony, Noah moved into the Hayes mansion. The first evening was uncomfortable. The house was enormous, more like a palace than a home. Amelia walked him through the property. Your room is on the second floor. Noah looked around. You've lived here your whole life? Almost. Do you like it? Amelia stopped. It was a strange question. Nobody ever asked her that. It's just a house. Noah looked at the expensive paintings covering the walls. No. He shook his head. It's a reminder. Of what? Everything people expect you to be. Amelia looked at him. For a moment, she wondered if Noah understood her better than people who had known her for years. Then she remembered. This was an arrangement. Nothing more. Days passed, and slowly, the impossible happened. They began to understand each other. Noah noticed Amelia skipped meals when she was stressed, so he started leaving food outside her office. Amelia noticed Noah repaired broken things around the mansion instead of calling staff. One evening, she found him fixing an old wooden chair. You know you're allowed to hire someone for that. Noah smiled. Sometimes things are worth fixing. Amelia looked at the chair. Most people throw things away when they stop being perfect. Noah looked at her. Maybe that's the problem. She didn't answer, because deep down, she wondered if he was talking about furniture or people. But peace never lasted. One night, Amelia attended a Hayes International charity event with Noah. The room was filled with billionaires, celebrities, and powerful executives. Everyone watched them enter. Some admired them. Others judged them. Among them was Ethan Blackwood, Amelia's former fiancé, the man she almost married before discovering he cared more about her money than her. Ethan approached with a smile. Amelia. She became cold. Ethan. His eyes moved toward Noah. So this is the man who replaced me? Noah remained calm. She didn't replace anyone. Ethan laughed. You must be very confident for someone who came from nowhere. The room became quiet. Everyone expected Noah to react. But he didn't. He simply smiled. Sometimes people who come from nowhere surprise the people who think they own everything. Ethan's expression changed. Because the way Noah spoke, it sounded familiar, almost like someone Ethan had met before. Later that evening, Amelia found Noah standing alone on the balcony. You handled Ethan well. Noah looked at her. I've dealt with worse. Who are you really? The question surprised him. What do you mean? I mean, you don't act like someone who built a small company. Noah looked away. Everyone has a past. Do you have something to hide? A long silence followed. Then Noah said, everyone does. Amelia wanted to push further, but something stopped her. Because for the first time, She wasn't afraid of his secrets. She was afraid of losing him. Meanwhile, Victoria finally received the information she had been waiting for. Her assistant entered her office carrying a folder. Mrs. Hayes. Victoria opened it. The moment she saw the name inside, her face changed. No. The assistant nodded. It's confirmed. Victoria looked at the photograph. The man Amelia married wasn't Noah Carter. Not completely. His real identity was written clearly. Noah Whitmore, the son of Daniel Whitmore. The man whose company was destroyed years ago. The man who blamed Richard Hayes for ruining his family. Victoria slowly smiled. So Amelia married the enemy. That night, Noah stood in his office looking at an old photograph. His father, his childhood, the life they lost. For years, he believed revenge was the only thing that could give him peace. But now, things were changing. Because Amelia wasn't anything like he expected. She wasn't cruel. She wasn't arrogant. She was a woman trapped by the same family secrets that destroyed his. Noah whispered, "I came here to destroy the Hayes name." He looked at the photo, but I never expected to fall for her. The countdown continued. 20 days remained, and the biggest secret of the marriage was about to be revealed. Because Victoria Hayes was no longer trying to take the company. She was trying to destroy the man Amelia had started to trust.